In the repair shop today, a little plane with a big history.
If there's someone who doesn't know the story behind it, you know, it's just a small wooden plane. Little do they actually know that this was made between bombing raids.
While Brenton and Suzie
It's a bit of origami, isn't it?
It is exactly like origami.
put the shine back into a stunning silver purse.
You're normally turning it over to get a perfect finish on it. There is no chance of me doing that to this, so it's got to be absolutely spot on, straight from the punt.
The first visitor to the repair shop is Lou Kringle from Manchester. She needs help rescuing a prized possession with an intriguing history.
How you doing? I'm Jay.
Very well, thanks. I'm Lou. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Lou. I'm Suzie.
Hi, Suzie.
Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.
So, what's in the bag?
Well, this is a very, very well-loved, well-worn leather poof, or dumpty, as I have been reminded we used to call it when we were children. It belonged to my grandma Muriel, who sadly passed away a couple of Christmases ago. But this object was in my grandma's living room for as long as I can remember. We think from talking to my mum and my aunties that she brought it back. She was stationed in Egypt in the war. She was a wren. Oh. And so, as we understand it, this is a sort of souvenir of that time.
Right.
The Women's Royal Naval Service was originally formed in 1917 to release more Navy service men for frontline duties. By 1943, there were 74,000 wrens in the UK and overseas, and they played a major role in planning and organising naval operations during World War II.
This was probably one of her greatest adventures that she went on, and this was a little memento that she brought back from that time when she travelled.
What are your earliest memories of it?
I'd say my earliest memories of me and my younger brother jumping off and doing kind of commando roles. But I think that's quite telling of what Grandma was like, because at Grandma's house, you can do anything. You know, it was like jumped on, it was thrown around, everyone sat on it and ate their tea, and it's just an old leather poof, but it's just such a part of our memories of our grandma.
It
so
sounds like it.
Sounds like it's part of the family.
It is.
So, why do you want this restored now?
Well, my grandma, Muriel, would have been 100 years old, so she's been very kind of front of mind. Well, she's always front of mind, but particularly at this time. I mean, she was your kind of archetypal grandma, as in she used to read us Enid Blyton stories, and she knitted and she cooked. You know, when you think back, you imagine Grandma sort of sitting in her chair, knitting, chatting to us, and this is here, and to have it back as it used to be, or a semblance of what it used to be, would just be really, really, well, I can't even imagine.
What is it you would like me to attempt to do?
Well, in an ideal world, I'd love it to be used like we used it. I'd love my daughter to be jumping off it and sitting on it, eating her tea. It would be lovely to have it, you know, strong enough to be part of the furniture again. And when all the family gets together, it's there. And Suzie, I'm just amazed that you've even considered taking it on. I mean, I thought there was something living in it at one point. So, yeah, probably. The odd give it a shake and there'll be a little mouse. I mean, I promise there isn't. I don't think there actually is.
Well, we'll wait and see.
Yeah, exactly. Something might pop out.
This is going to be quite the challenge. I make no bones about it. You have set me the ultimate challenge.
Goodness.
Okay.
And I assure you, I will do everything in my powers to achieve what you want.
No, and that's all I ask. That is all I ask, and that will be wonderful, I'm sure. But fingers crossed.
I'm going to need it. Thank you. We'll be in touch when it's ready.
See you.
Okay.
I think my biggest apprehension is simply that Suzie will call and say, "I'm so sorry, Lou. We couldn't fix it and it's in a little bag." But I'm just so excited to see it, and I just want it to live on and to keep going and to be there for another generation, really.
He was quite quiet. You're all right.
I'm in a state of shock and panic and, oh my word, what am I going to do here?
It is a big job.
It's a huge job, but Lovely story.
Yeah.
Love Muriel, the grandmother.
Yeah.
She sounds like the best grandmother ever.
Yeah.
And I completely get why Lou would like us to put this back into usable condition.
Yeah. And it is going to be used. Is it cool? You can do it?
Have to.
That's what I like to hear.
Okay.
Let's get it over to your
All
bench
right.
then.
This is such a lovely design, and there are 110 separate pieces. I'm going to basically take every single part apart and line the back of them to give them that strength and integrity back. First thing I need to do is to remove the stuffing on the inside, which is a type of coconut hair. So I'm just going to put a mask on because I think there might be a little bit of dust. Ready for surgery. Here we go. Nice big stitches here, so it should be easy enough. See if I can start pulling this out. You think of all the years that it's had people sitting on it. It's really compressed all those fibres. There we go. So there we have our first layer. It'd be nice if it all comes out in layers like that. Nothing's living in it. That's good. That's great.
Susie's facing a huge challenge, but the next visitor has something a little more pocket-sized. Jonathan Owen from Rye in Sussex has brought in a prized possession with an incredible war story behind it.
Hi there. I'm Will.
Yeah, hi Will, nice to meet you. I've got an old model Spitfire that was given to me by my father. I inherited it from him. He died earlier this year. And he was given it by his brother, who was 10 or 11 years older than him. And my uncle Reggie, he was a bomber boy. He used to fly Lancasters during the Second World War.
Lancaster Bomber, really?
Yeah. His younger brother, my dad, was sort of quite in awe of his older brother. And during the gaps between the missions, he would carve him this model aircraft. Sadly, my uncle got shot down on his 19th mission in 1943. The items were returned after Reggie's was found reported missing, and wrapped was this model Spitfire that Reggie had done for his younger brother.
Yeah.
So that's the first he knew about it. Apparently, my uncle had time, according to one of the survivors, he had plenty of time to jump, but he didn't. He went back to save the guy who was injured in the cockpit and went down with the plane. So it's quite important that, you know, look after this, and it's an important piece. It was left at my grandmother's house. So although it was my dad's, he left it with his parents. They had a sideboard, which was effectively like a shrine to Reggie. So on the shrine was this plane, and because it was like a toy to me. My dad said, he said, look after that. He said, because when I die, he said, you'll look after this. Sadly, I didn't do a very good job because my dad had been dead a few days, and as my mum was handing it to me, I dropped it. There's quite a lot of responsibility I felt with this piece, and I felt I'd fallen at the first fence, really, because, my dad told me that although my uncle was killed at 21, his story must live on, and I felt in an instant I dropped the story. Sorry. Yeah, so I've probably got to get that wing back on one way or another so I can then, keep the story going. So yeah, I felt quite bad. And that's a lot of responsibility for you, Will, but...
Well, I'll say one thing. It looks like it has been dropped before at some point.
Yeah.
And someone has tried to stick it back on. So I wouldn't totally blame yourself.
Oh, that's very good of you, Will.
That is wonderful work. And he must have painted it himself as well when
Yeah, the whole
chance.
thing, yeah. It's been difficult to move on with this because I've felt so bad, and so it'd be amazing if you could do anything with it, Will.
And I'll see what I can do for you.
Lovely. Thanks very much, Will.
Thank you very much for coming down.
Cheerio. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I feel that I've let my dad and my uncle down because it's on my shoulders to keep it for future generations, just to hand down, and so it's important that I get it back to its former glory, really.
Quite charming, actually, to know that Uncle Reggie made this for Edward between bombing raids. When you think about the environment that Uncle Reggie was in, it's a pretty good job. So what I want to do is a real sympathetic restoration. I don't want to repaint this because it sort of takes away the fact that Reggie had painted this, and I kind of want to sort of keep it as close to as it looked originally. At some point, it looks like the back tail there is broken, so I'll try to glue that back together. It's quite wobbly. As you can see, it's just come off my fingers. So first thing I'm going to do is clean off some of this old glue and find out if I can get a better fit. Sometimes when things like this break, instead of cleaning out the old glue, people put in new glue on the old glue, and then it sort of just builds up, and it will never be as strong as it would be if you sort of take it all back down to the wood and glue and clamp it up again.
Across the barn, with all the stuffing removed from the poof, Suzie can assess the condition of the leather exterior.
So these are all the side panels have been taken apart. It's like a flower, just opening all the petals. I'm looking to save most of these individual pieces. I just have to remove them, line them to reinforce them, and then sew them back. But my goodness, there is an awful lot to do here. I know how much this means to Lou and her family. This is like such an important piece. I'd rather take the time that's needed to do a really good job. So I'm trying to make sure I get every stitch. I decided to number all the individual pieces, so there's no question as to how they were joined together. And as I'm taking each section apart, I'm putting them into a box, and they are in number order as well.
To help the leather last another 70 years, Suzie is going to line every individual piece with a supportive backing.
I'm using the pigskin leather because of its strength and flexibility without being too bulky. This is my contact cement, and love this stuff because when it dries, it remains really flexible. And the reason why I'm going to this trouble is so the kids can jump on it, they can kick it around the living room. Lou and her family can continue to enjoy the poof for many, many, many more years to come. I have a very, very, very long way to go before I'm really in control of the situation. But I'll tell you now, when, not if, but when I get this done, you're going to see the biggest grin on the planet, because I will be so happy.
With the pieces now strengthened by their backing, Suzie can work on improving the condition of the leather.
So I'm going to just dab on the saddle soap rather than drag the cloth across it, which would create a little bit more damage. It's just going to give it a nice little bit of food, help flatten everything down in a non-greasy, oily way. Now all I need to do is let all that saddle soap absorb back in and repeat the process.
Any segments that are too far gone to line and condition will be replaced. But Suzie wants to keep as many of the original leather pieces as possible.
So now comes the fun time of stitching all the pieces together. So I'm just going to start with joining number 1 and 2.
Between each patch is a new piece of folded leather.
I have to insert a layer of piping and then pop it in the clams. And I'm going to be sewing this by hand as it originally was done. I'm using two needles, and this is a double hand stitching. It just creates a very solid, secure join of all the layers of leather. Right, so that's the final stitch. So let's see what we've got. Just open that up, and we see that piping. That's the piping I've just put in, joining the two pieces together. And that's looking really nice. So that's two pieces sewn together. So I think I have my work cut out for me today.
Next into the repair shop is June Gooney from Sheffield. She's got a family treasure that needs the Midas touch of silversmith Brenton West.
Hi, I'm Brenton.
Hello, I'm June.
Nice to meet you. What have you brought me?
I've brought you my mother's silver purse.
Ah, lovely.
It's a little bit battered.
Tell me about the purse.
It belonged to my mother. Her name was Marjorie Anderson. She was born in 1926.
Okay.
The mother I remember was always really happy, smiling. I was only 22 when she died.
Right.
And I think we just got to the stage there where we were becoming friends rather than just mother and daughter. Yeah.
And so she left this to you, or?
After Mum died, my dad gave me everything of my mother's because he couldn't bear to look at anything.
Right.
It was so upsetting for him. And I can remember it from being a child. I don't know where she got it from, but I just remember it always being there. But other than that, I don't really know anything about it.
I noticed there's some items in here.
That is a 1900 Victoria crown, and I've always been told that that was my grandfather's first week's wages.
Why didn't he spend it?
I don't know. I would have it. Yeah.
I don't think I should be allowed to look after that.
Thank you.
And I noticed something else here. What else is...
That's my mum's wedding ring.
Oh, wow.
So that's very precious to me.
Again, I don't think I should be looking after that either, so maybe I'll give you that as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll make sure I keep that somewhere safe until it gets
Okay, yeah, that's brilliant.
That's its vault to keep it in.
Okay. So tell me, June, what's the problem with this lovely silver purse?
Well, as you can see, it's all very dented, both sides of it, actually, quite badly. And inside as well, the leather is, I don't know if it's torn or come unglued, but that's
It's a bit perished, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Okay. It's certainly going to be a challenge.
I'd be amazed if you can do anything with it, actually. I've never done anything because I didn't think it could be repaired.
And if we can repair it...
Wow. I'm assuming my mother saw it as it was, and to see something that she saw would be just amazing. My mother was very special to me. She was very, very caring and unselfish. She didn't do anything for herself.
Right.
She would do things for other people, and she never wanted anything for herself.
Well, let's do this for her, shall we? Yeah?
That'd be lovely.
OK. Brilliant.
Thank you very much. Thank you. To have the purse repaired would be so special. Just something I could do for her because I didn't get the chance to do anything for her because I was quite young when she died. So this is my chance now to do something for her.
While Brenton assesses the silver purse, it's chocks away for Will on the repair of the model Spitfire.
I've decided to glue the wing and the tail back on with quite a quick setting glue. It's a two-part glue that you mix together. It's incredibly strong. My only worry with this is it's quite a tricky thing to clamp together. It's not as easy as clamping together two flat pieces of wood. You can get the clamps on there. Because of the shape of the wing, you can't sort of clamp it there because too much pressure will flex that. So what I might have to do is glue it on and hold it in place with my hands for 5 minutes. And that's also the reason why I am using this quick-drying glue, because I need to hold it with my hands and I can't be here overnight with some wood glue. So I'm going to go for the wing first. So I mixed up enough glue there that I could do the tail as well as the wing, but I can't really hold that in place. Sometimes I wish I was born with 4 arms, because then I could do jobs like that all at the same time, but it's not worth rushing into. We'll wait for this to dry, then I'll move on to the tail. Now that the wing and the tail have been glued on, I'm going to turn my attention to that propeller. It looks like it's missing a blade. It would have had 3 blades originally, and sadly only 2 now. And hopefully trace around one of these blades here, cut it out of this really thin bit of metal, and I should have a lovely 3-bladed propeller again. So I roughly cut out the outline of the missing propeller blade on the saw, but the metal is so fine, there's only so much that you can do before risking cutting off a finger or breaking the metal. I'm just going to refine it now with some files. So I put some glue on there. I'm just going to get a clamp on to flatten it. Make sure that the new piece of metal and the old propeller have a really nice bond. That amount of pressure from the clamp should be just enough to glue those 2 pieces together.
With his repairs done, Will must now blend in his handiwork with paint.
No day is the same at the repair shop. It's quite nice because everything has a different story behind it and where it was made and what it means to people. And this is one of those pieces where if there's someone who doesn't know the history and the story behind it, you know, it's just a small wooden plane. Little do they actually know that this was made between bombing raids. And unfortunately, Reggie didn't come home. So this being one of the things that did come home makes it even more important to restore and to keep for Jonathan's family and for future generations.
Susie's overcome the huge challenge of repairing the leather poof. First backing and conditioning piles of individual pieces, then hand sewing over 300 seams.
Just going to join the last 2 pieces together, which is really quite exciting for me. I have to admit that there was the odd occasion where it seemed like it was going to be the never-ending journey here. And I feel that this was the right thing to do, taking all the pieces apart. Just going to cut off this tab here. OK, that is the wall sewn together. So it's now ready for me to join the top to it, and really it's going to start coming together and creating that form of the original poof, which I am really, really excited about now. I just want to get going on it.
With the exterior leather shell intact, Susie can begin to stuff it tightly with coconut hair.
While I'm doing this, I'm noticing how much weight Dumped is putting on. It's getting heavier and heavier. I want to make sure this goes on for years.
With the final seam sewn shut, this once ragged and deflated poof is now ready to be presented to owner Lou.
The Dumpty means an awful lot to me because it was such a part of my childhood. To me, it's really representative of my grandma, and I think now that she's no longer here, it's just a really important thing to bring back to life and have a little piece of her living room and that kind of happiness in my living room, basically.
Hello, Lou. It's great to see you again.
Good to see you. Hello,
How you doing,
hi,
Lou? You all right?
Jay. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Are you?
I'm very excited. I'm so glad you're still talking to me.
Just about.
Yeah. So what sort of condition was Dumpty in when you left him?
Oh, my goodness. It just looked like it had been through the wars. Through the wars. So it was an absolute state.
So what are you hoping for then?
I think anything would be an improvement, to be honest.
Wow. Let's hope that I've been able to deliver, shall we? Ready? OK, let's go.
Oh, my goodness. How on earth? It looks about twice the height as well. Oh, that's absolutely incredible. Oh, my heart is pounding. Thank you, that is absolutely amazing. I didn't think it was going to be anything like that. That's so beautiful. Beautiful.
Because you were wishing that you could use it again.
Yes.
I only replaced what I absolutely had to.
This is sturdy. I mean, this can take children.
Yeah. This has been given the Suzie treatment, so this is strong enough.
Proper Suzie treatment. I am over the moon. This is wonderful. This is wonderful.
You could take Dumpty home with you now.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lou.
Thank you
so much for bringing it.
Absolutely beautiful.
All right.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
You, hey?
I'm so happy. I'm so happy and so pleased and excited to get it home. Whenever the family are around and inevitably the children, it will be there and the centre of things, and that is exactly what I wanted. I just wanted it to have another life. So I am overjoyed. I'm overjoyed.
As items return home from the workshop, other repairs are just beginning. Brenton has been puzzling over the silver purse.
How we doing?
A bit of an issue. This leather in this purse of June's, I've got to get this out of here. It might be needed as a pattern. I'm a bit worried I'm going to tear it getting it out.
All right, because you want to work on the silver.
I want to work
butchers? All right, well, you know this is a job for Suzie, isn't it?
I think it is, isn't it?
God, blimey, that's delicate, isn't it?
Thin, isn't it?
Suze, you have a look at this. Have a look at that.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Would it have been glued in there, Susie?
I think it's one of those things, as you start taking it apart,
Right.
you sort out how they did it. It's incredible, the folds and creases in it.
It's a bit of origami, isn't it?
It is exactly like origami. Oh, my goodness, I haven't done origami for years. OK, well, I'll
Okay.
get that taken care of for you. All right, cheers.
No rest for the wicked. Susie's back on duty.
A concern of mine is I have never done anything like this before. But thankfully, this leather's in really good overall condition for me to use it as a pattern. So the first thing I need to do is to try and ease it out, making sure that I don't tear the leather. I want to keep this leather intact. I found this other layer underneath here. This is really helpful. The leather has been glued around this very fine cardboard. That's created the shape and gives me a little bit of hope here in being able to replicate it. This is fantastic. So, anyway, got the leather removed. I can now give this back to Brenton and let him get this case sorted out, and I'll make a start on replacing the leather.
So now I've got two halves. These are really, really thin. They weigh nothing. I need to knock the dents out. Tempting just to get the hammer and just knock the dents out, but This silver is really brittle, so what I need to do is to anneal it.
Annealing is the process in which silver is heated and cooled to alter its structure. This makes it more malleable and easier to work with.
So this is called pitch. It's made from tree resin. The reason I'm putting these two items onto the pitch is the pitch is soft enough to let me knock the dents out, but hard enough to support it. So it's like a hand cradling it from behind and stopping the dents getting too big. So now I've got to warm the pitch up so that it will receive these two items. I'm now knocking the dents from the inside outwards that's being supported by the pitch. So I'm just gently tapping away at it and watching the metal very slowly moving. You're normally turning it over, hitting each side to get a perfect finish on it. There is no chance of me doing that to this, so it's got to be absolutely spot on, straight from the punt.
While Brenton gingerly taps away at the exterior, Suzie is puzzling over the complicated folded leather interior.
I've taken it apart and I'm going to use the pieces as a pattern. This is very, very clever once you figure out how everything goes together.
All my little marks that I've made knocking the dent out are showing, and what I've got to do is very gently smooth those over. My other problem is that there are engraved lines, and if I start tapping on the engraved lines will go away. So I'm really carefully staying between the lines as I'm tapping. That's looking quite nice. That's the big dents that were along the bottom have all gone now, and the two halves of that are looking quite good. So I've just got to put the pin back in the hinge and give that to Suzie. Two halves go together like that. Need both pairs of glasses on. So hopefully it'll line up. That will go in a bit, that'll be quite tight, so I'll need a pair of parallel pliers to push it in. OK, so that is functioning properly. Click shut, and I'll give this to Suzie so she can put the leather back in for me. Gosh, is that what I think it is?
What do you think it is?
I think it might be my leather lining for my purse.
You're absolutely right. Look at it.
Wow, that is amazing.
I'll be very pleased if it fits.
Well, I've bashed all the dents out, so there's lots of room for it
You
now.
made some extra room.
It opens all the way out like that, so you can work in there.
Yeah.
I'll put the chain on right at the end.
Okay. All right, brilliant. I will guard it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
It's been a tricky mission, but Will has managed to get the model Spitfire rebuilt and ready for action.
The plane is all back together now. However, I thought it'd be a really nice touch to make a stand for this. So I'll measure out some brass, cut it out, and start assembling it. Well, that's all done now. I'm really pleased I decided to make the stand for it. It looks like it's flying once again. Very happy.
But Will's primary concern is whether owner Jonathan will approve of his handiwork.
Quite excited, but a bit nervous as well. The fact that my dad had looked after it carefully for that many years, and I'd had it 3 minutes and dropped it. So even if it just goes back to how it was before I dropped it, I'd be delighted. I was so upset that I put it in a box and put it in the drawer. So hopefully, last I'll be able to actually put the Spitfire out, just like my dad had done for 70, 80 years.
Hi there.
Hiya.
Nice to have you back.
Yeah, good to see you.
How you doing, John?
Yeah, good.
So how you feeling?
Bit weird, nervous.
Nervous.
Yeah.
Could take a deep breath.
OK, I will. Oh, wow. Can I?
Yes, of course, that's right.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, Will, you've... Oh, and you've done the propeller as well. Oh, God. Sorry.
That's all right.
Oh, my dad would be so pleased. And you've kept the integrity of it. I was slightly scared that you know, the possibility you could have sort of painted it all, but it just looks. Oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
That's fine. It was a pleasure to work on.
And I love what you've done here, because the stand is just so good, and it can have pride of place in ours now.
So how do you feel seeing it in its current state now? Like...
I could sort of move on a bit. I dropped it, and it's really bothered me. And obviously, I know the story behind it. I've told my kids the story behind it, and Reggie died at 21, but hopefully his story will live for a long time with this. So thank you. Thank you so much.
That's right, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well done, you, man.
Yeah, thank you, Jay.
All right.
Yeah,
It's
thank
over
so
to
much.
you. Be very careful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan.
I will be.
Cheers.
This time. It's just fantastic, wonderful. My dad, God rest his soul, would be delighted. I don't know what Reggie would be thinking. I don't think Reggie ever thought that this plane that he carved out would be going down the generations, but fantastic job. I feel so happy. The plane's back in action. It's not landed, it's not broken, it hasn't crashed. It's back in action.
Work on the silver purse is also nearing completion, as Suzie reattaches the folded leather insert to the exquisite outer shell.
Lovely. I'm really, really pleased with that. I've never done one of these before. I think that's going to do a lovely job of keeping the treasures safe and sound.
Got a present for you.
Oh, I know what you've got. I can't wait. Would you like to open it?
Yeah, please.
God, blimey, look at that. That's fantastic. June is going to be absolutely over the moon with that. She's going to be so pleased.
Good.
It's proper again, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, so I've just got to put the chain back on. We can give it back to her.
OK, let you get on with it.
Thank you.
June has returned to reunite the purse with her treasured keepsakes.
When I brought the purse in, it was quite battered, very dull looking, the inside, all the leather was torn. It really wasn't in a very good state at all. If I could wave a magic wand, the purse would look how it looked when my mum first had it. She's been out of my life a long time, so this is something that's bringing her back into my life again.
June.
Hello, Brenton. Lovely to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Very excited about this.
So, do you want to have a look and see if we've managed to do anything?
Oh, my goodness. Sorry. I wasn't going to do it. Wow. Can I?
Of course you can.
That just doesn't look like the same purse. Oh, wow. That is just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Thank you. My dad couldn't talk about her, and other than one friend, I've had no one to speak to about her. So now this has brought her back into my life again, and oh, well, she would just love it. Absolutely love it. Can I put its contents back in it, please? Felt lost without it.
Yeah.
I've got separate compartments for them now. There we are, all back together again. It's lovely.
Well, it's been a pleasure to do, and I did have a bit of help with the leather from Suzie, who's excellent at that sort of thing. And between us, we've done your mother proud, I think.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I can't stop looking at it.
Well, I'm glad you're pleased. I'll get that packed into a little box for you.
Thank you. My mum would be amazed to see what's been done to the purse. She never wanted anything for herself. It was always for everyone else, and this is for her. She's very special and she deserved it. When I put the wedding ring and the coin back inside, it was like reuniting my mum again with the purse. It was just such a fantastic feeling.